still in preview mode. And now we are live. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Breakdown After Dark. I'm your host, Casey Smith, joined as always by my two co-hosts, Mr. Keenan Vaughn and Aidan Dobell. We got a big episode planned for you guys. I'm scared, maybe not scared, but estimating it could take upwards of 2 hours, depending on how long we get into the weeds of the details here, because we're going to be doing a full round one mock draft for the NFL draft, which is just a few days away. We're going to be talking about the NBA playoffs and all sorts of stuff. But before we get into any of that, Aidan and Keenan, how are you guys doing today?
I'm doing great, man. This is just such a fun time in sports. You got the NBA playoffs, NHL playoffs, NFL draft is on Thursday. There's so much to look forward to.
I'm so tired. I am so tired. I told the people that I work with at Arizona Sports, I'm honestly kind of getting sick of writing about the draft in a way where it's just like I got nothing new to say. I'm just ready for the draft to get here and for it to happen. I don't want to talk about it anymore.
So, and I especially imagine that as you're writing for Arizona Sports, even more so, most of the stuff you're talking about has got to be the same. Because, if you're looking at the draft as a whole, you can look at every single different team, but how much can you really say about what the Cardinals might do? Especially when they're at 3, which is a spot where you kind of know what you're going to get. I find that most of the videos that I've been making on the draft stuff have been largely rehashing the same talking points for quite a while now.
It's not even that. It's just also doing coverage on which Arizona State guys could get picked. It's there's no more ways for me to say Jordan Tyson is a good prospect. I can't say Max Ahenachur is one of the most intriguing NFL draft prospects anymore. I've said it 6 times already. I'm ready to just see it happen.
Yeah, I think that's fair. But yeah, we only have 2 more weeks of school, 2-3 with finals, which is kind of crazy. Pretty soon here, we're going to be doing our shows over state boundaries. One person in Chicago, one person in San Diego, one person in Houston. And I guess we can have more of a set show time, because nowadays we just do the show after Keenan and I's WCSN meetings, but I guess we'll be able to do it. We'll have a more set time, and we'll need to make sure that we're all using the same time zone. I can just imagine that I say that it's at 9 o'clock and Aiden's showing up 2 hours early or some BS.
No, surely not.
We'll have to make sure not to do that. But I think that's all. I didn't really have an intro thing because I kind of just wanted to hop right into it. Because
it's gonna take a while. Yeah.
It's a full mock draft, so it will definitely take a minute. But yeah, well, let's get into our NFL section. Let's get into our mock draft. So how we're going to do it, quite honestly, I have not kept up with the NFL prospects as much. I know about the ASU guys and the Cardinal stuff because that's, what I've been covering for PHNX. But in terms of I'm not a huge college football guy outside of the teams I watch. I'm not watching the whole league. I'm much more of a hoops guy. So usually around this time, I watch a lot of videos and read articles and whatnot to catch myself up, but I just didn't do it this year. So I really don't have that much to say about the guys outside of the top 10 or so. So how we are doing it is I'm going to kind of cue us up into every single pick, and I'll definitely talk about each one. But the 2 people doing the mock draft are going to be Keenan and Aidan. Keenan, you have the even picks, right?
I sure do.
And Aidan is going to have the odd picks. And I'll give my thoughts on each one for sure. And I'm assuming, I guess I didn't ask you guys this, but I'm assuming we're doing it what we would do if we were the team.
Yes.
Correct? Not what we think will happen. But if Aidan were the GM of the Chicago Bears or the Las Vegas Raiders or whomever, this is what he would do to make their team as good as possible. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what we did last year too. I should see if I can find our mock draft from last year because I think I wrote it all out.
Interesting to see.
But yeah, Aidan, you are the odd picks. So that means you have the first overall pick. And we can get started with our Breakdown After Dark mock draft. You're the Raiders, so 3 and 14.
Yes.
How much do we really got to say about this one? I guess.
Yeah, I think this has been the pick for like the last like 3 months probably. It's gonna be Fernando Mendoza at number one. I would be pretty stunned if it was anybody else other than Fernando Mendoza. The Raiders need a quarterback, and Mendoza is easily the best quarterback in this class. He's not like some elite crazy talent like maybe a Andrew Luck or like a Cam Newton or Trevor Lawrence, but he is a very good prospect and he plays the most valuable position.
Yeah, I think we talked about it. I don't know if it was last week or a couple weeks ago, but we talked about comparing Mendoza to the last, I believe it was like 15 or so years. And I personally came to the conclusion that out of like the past 15 years or so, there's only like two guys I would take him over.
Yeah.
So he's not the most amazing prospect in the world. I think the biggest thing that I am personally worried about is how the game is going to translate to the pro level, because so much of his stuff at Indiana was RPO stuff, was quick game stuff. So is he going to be able to read a more complex NFL offense? I'm not 100% sure, but I feel more confident about it than any other quarterback, surely. I don't think it's quite that close. And it's just, yeah, the Raiders, I mean, it's quite clearly a position of need, especially considering how poor the play of Geno Smith was last year. And this is kind of a pro Geno pod, or at least it was before the year. I feel like we generally had good sentiments about him.
I still think he can be solid in New York. I really do. I said
Dude.
like not listen. It's important to note the word I use is solid.
Okay.
If he is a okay starting quarterback, I think you'll take that.
Yeah, I don't know. What do you think there?
He certainly has better weapons in New York.
What do you think there, Keenan?
I don't know. I mean, he looked so bad last season. There's absolutely still potential. I mean, we saw that Geno Smith can be a serviceable quarterback during those seasons in Seattle. I think he just has to have the right infrastructure around him, and I just don't think the Jets provide that for him. So I could see this being a situation where I think he'll definitely start week 1, but I would give it until like week 5 at most before the calls for him to be benched are made.
Yeah, but Mendoza, do you have anything to say about him, Keenan?
Yeah, I think we've already kind of covered how it's like, I wouldn't call him, he's definitely not the caliber of prospects that you're used to when it comes to the number 1 overall pick, but he's still, I think, a guy who could, like, I think he is going to an interesting situation in the Raiders. The Raiders are desperately in need for that franchise savior quarterback that they've lacked since probably like Derek Carr, let's be honest. And they've got pieces like Clint Kubiak at head coach. That is a really interesting fit for him. I can't wait to see how they make that work. So he may not be blue chip, may not be up there. Like, I don't think anyone's going to toss around generational talent when talking about Mendoza, but he's really intriguing.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Well, then that gets you on the clock, Keenan, as you're our number 2 pick. With the Jets, what are you thinking about? I mean, we just did talk about them with Mr. Geno Smith.
I think for the Jets, I would prioritize with how great the defensive talent is at the top of this draft board. They need a difference maker on the defensive side of the ball. And I'm sure Aaron Glenn, since he's a defensive mind, he would really appreciate that. They were so bad on defense last year. They couldn't get to the quarterback. They were second worst in the entire NFL. And they were bottom 10, I think even bottom 5 in terms of yards allowed. I would say it has to be between Bailey or Reese. I think those are probably the 2 best defensive prospects. And I might lean towards, I think Arvell Reese he's just an undeniable talent. Aidan and I were talking about this yesterday. We've said this a ton. Even if Reese doesn't work out at edge, at the very worst, you've got a really, really good linebacker on your hands. So I would probably say Arvell Reese. Wouldn't shock me if Bailey went there. But I think at the end of the day, the Jets need someone on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, I think the odds are that they will take Bailey. But again, this is what we would do, not necessarily what the teams will do. Yeah, I've seen a lot of sentiment, a lot of interesting sentiment considering Reese. There's the the positive sentiment with the in-betweener stuff where, okay, if he's not a edge rusher, he could be an off-ball linebacker. But especially, I mean, I can speak from a PHNX perspective. A lot of the guys in that room do not want him to go to the Cardinals because they feel like, whether or not it's warranted, he's not particularly good at either.
I disagree. I think he's
I disagree
elite
as well.
linebacker.
Yeah.
I think he's an elite linebacker prospect who has the potential and has flashed as like off the edge, and I think that's what he's going to. I think if you're drafting him that high, you're drafting him as an edge rusher.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. No, that I think so as well, because even if he's going to be elite off ball, if you think he's going to be an off ball linebacker, you're probably just going to draft David Bailey because of the positional advantage. But I guess that takes us to pick number 3, Aidan. There is a decent chance that the Cardinals trade out of this pick, but we're not doing trades. That kind of complicates things. So who do you have the Cardinals going with at 3rd overall?
Yeah, there's been a lot of reports that if they don't trade out, they're going to go Jeremiah Love. Now, this is not what I think could happen. This is what I think would be the best for their team. So I think the best pick for the Cardinals is going to be to take Francis Maui-Noa to play your right tackle position. You already have Paris Johnson on the left side of the O-line. The O-line still needs some work. Why not take Maui-Noa to solidify that right tackle position? And even if he doesn't stick at right tackle, I think you have a really good right guard. He's big, he's strong, he's a good mover, really good run blocker. He's just a very solid player, and I think looking to upgrade the O-line would be extremely valuable for Arizona.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, as much as I love, 3rd for a running back is a little bit tough, all things considered, especially when, I don't know, like you got a little something in the tank with James Conner. I know he's practically 40 years old at this point, incredibly banged up, and like Trey Benson wasn't terrible. So I don't know. I just think that the O-line is much more of a team need for sure, and now we know is a pretty good prospect.
Yeah. The reason why I might not lean towards David Bailey is like Zaven Collins was solid. I know that they probably need more pass rush, but I think you can get some really good pass rushers down the board. I don't know that you can get a guy who is just an immediate starter at a tackle position down the board.
If I was in the Cardinals position, I would probably take Maui Noah, solidify your O-line, and then you could probably wait to grab someone like an R. Mason Thomas, or maybe like Malachi Lawrence is there because they've got the 2nd pick of the 2nd round. So I would be more willing to bet on getting a really good edge rusher down the board than taking Bailey and then hoping that someone you take later in the draft in O-line pans out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Well, Keenan, I know you're a big fan of this team, the Titans, that is. They have such a likable team. Cam Ward, they have those really cool jerseys and whatnot. So, what do you think you're going to do to try to help out Cam Ward and the Titans at 4?
This one is a little tricky just because, I still think in my mind, Jeremiah Love should be the pick because just the thought of pairing Cam Ward with a weapon like Love in the backfield, that's incredible. And I've said it before, if you go into the season with Tony Pollard as your RB1, that is not horrible. You can definitely do better, but it's not, I wouldn't call that the absolute worst. I do struggle because it wouldn't shock me if they went Bailey just because their defense was like really, really bad last season. And they just hired Robert Saleh, a defensive mind. So he may want to beef up his defensive line, improve their pass rush. But man, just Jeremiah Love would just add a whole nother dimension to the offense with Brian Dable, who, keep in mind, like for that one season with Saquon was one of, if not the best running back in the game in 2022. So I'm going to go with Love for this pick. I think if you can just add another dimension to the offense with Cam Ward, that would be huge for Tennessee.
Yeah, I mean, the combo of Pollard and Tajay Spears, isn't terrible, but Love is definitely a better running back than that. He's more dimensional. He can be a true every down back with his pass catching and pass pro and whatnot. And he's obviously an unreal athlete. Do you think he's got a real shot at the top 5, Aiden?
Absolutely. I mean, if we're getting talks of him at 3, I think certainly. I think Tennessee does make a lot of sense for him. I've heard that even New York at 5 makes a lot of sense for him because
Really?
what is the John Harbaugh really likes him. They want to be able to run the ball. And I don't know. Unfortunately, I love him as an ASU guy. I don't know what the lifespan on Cam Scatterbu as an NFL running back is going to be.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, that's the most clear case of CTE that the football world may ever have right there.
Like like just the way that he runs. And Scatterbu's a great player, but Love is he's such a difference maker. Like he is. I've said it before. I think he's the best player in the entire draft. And he checks every box that you want a running back to do. You want him to run routes, he can do that. He can catch. He's big. He's physical. He's got great contact balance, elite athleticism, and he can block, which is super valuable as well. Like he is truly the total package at running back.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that. Well, then at 5, speaking of said Giants, Aiden, who are you feeling?
Yeah. So with Jeremiah Love off the board, I think that they go with a player who also might have the case for being one of the best players in this class. And it might be a little early for him to go, but I'm going to go with Caleb Downs. I
Wow.
think he truly is just one of the best football players in this draft, and he immediately makes your defense better. And like the safety, Tyler Nubin, I don't know that he's really a long term answer at the safety position. Um, like Down just has so much leadership skills. He is such a good football player. I think he immediately makes your defense a lot better. And after getting rid of Dexter Lawrence, I know obviously they don't play the same position, but continuing to feed into that side of the ball and upgrade your defense, I think is a good move for the Giants at 5.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a little. I mean, am I crazy that David Bailey is falling a little bit here? We're getting down to 6, and I'm not quite sure if Keenan will take him with the Browns. So that's probably the thing that sticks out to me the most. But I know that I know that Caleb Downs is one of the better players straight up. If football maybe was more like basketball, where positions don't really matter too much in terms of impact. Centers are
Mm-hmm.
gonna naturally matter a little bit more on offense, guards a little more, or centers more on defense, guards on offense. But if you're a good player, you're a good player. Scoot Henderson wasn't going to get picked over Wemby because he was a guard and Wemby was a center, even though Wemby was a much better player. That being said, football position matters a lot more. So, a safety just doesn't have as much impact, even if he is maybe a one-for-one better player than a Francis Maui Noah or even Arvel Reese, or I would very likely argue Fernando Mendoza. But Keenan, any thoughts on this pick, or are you ready to get into the next one?
No, I agree with the Downs pick. It just makes a ton of sense. I agree. Tyler Nubin is he's not going to be, he doesn't scream long-term option at the safety position. And at the end of the day, I mean, regardless of positional need or safety not being maybe the sexiest pick, Caleb Downs is one of the most talented, if not the most talented prospect in this draft. So it just makes a ton of sense, especially considering that their head coach, John Harbaugh, they picked Kyle Hamilton and he was a difference maker in Baltimore. I could see them doing the same thing here.
Yeah, sounds good. Then who do you have my Cleveland Browns taking at number 6?
So you made a good point with the David Bailey, the fall. It's really tricky because if he doesn't go to the Cardinals at 3, I could see him sliding down the board a bit just because the Titans may want to prioritize getting Jeremiah Love. The Giants don't need edge rusher. And for the Browns, I think that they should go with Carnell Tate here, because the big reason with Maui Noah off the board, if Maui Noah was still on the board, he would be the no-brainer pick for me for Cleveland. But with him off the board, I think there's kind of a gap there between Maui Noah and the rest of the pack. I think the Browns go get Carnell Tate. He's easily I think he's just the safest pick in terms of wide receiver. He's not the most exciting, and it wouldn't surprise me if guys like Tyson turn out to be the better receiver in this class. But Carnell Tate has the Ohio State pedigree on his side. The Browns desperately need wide receiver weapons. I watched way too much Browns football last season, and I hated watching Jerry Jeudy as the wider one. My goodness, that was awful.
What do you mean?
I'm sorry.
What do you mean? What do you mean too much Browns football? I'm a bit confused.
You can never have too much Browns football.
There was a certain person that we would dedicate a whole TV to a Browns game, and I would have to watch Jerry Jeudy dropping passes in 4K. Well, I don't want to see it anymore.
Well, you had to watch Cedric Tillman as well, surely, among others.
Gage
Laravedon.
Yeah, Isaiah Bond. Yeah,
Isaiah Bond.
But I mean, at the end of the day, Carnell Tate is a instant difference maker for the Browns. He would be a huge piece for when the Browns figure out what they're going to do at quarterback.
Yeah. That Browns receiving core was one of the more talent deprived in the league.
I think that's a very polite way of saying it was not.
I know what I saw.
Yeah, and you didn't see a lot of good stuff out of that wide receiver room. So they certainly got to get one in. I get what you're saying with Tyson. I think I don't know. I mean, is the thing with Tyson the injury stuff for you?
Probably, yeah. I mean, I don't want to come off as just biased because, I go to Arizona State and I watch Tyson more than Tate. I mean, Tyson is just an insane playmaker, and I think he has the highest ceiling out of anyone. But Tate's still a beast. I don't want that to be any mark on Tate at all. I mean, the guy's a monster. Maybe not this, I don't think I wouldn't call him a blue chip. I don't think he's a generational, can't miss wide receiver prospect. But he's the safest, and that's not bad at all. Again, he comes from Ohio State. I would trust the track record of how those wide receivers translate to the NFL more than anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's like drafting a Kentucky guard. They have such a good track record of being good pros.
Yeah, well, that gets us to the Commanders at number 7. Aidan, what are you thinking?
I've been pondering over this pick while you guys were talking about the Browns. I think David Bailey is simply too good to still be on the board, honestly, and I think this is where the slide for him is going to end. I was really considering going Jordan Tyson here. The Commanders really need another receiver outside of Terry McLaurin. That receiver room is pretty bare. They have Traylon Burks and then Luke McCaffrey. It is not a good receiver room. But I think you can probably get a good receiver down the board. I don't know that you can get a player that can be an impact pass rusher like David Bailey down the board. I think he is, simply too good to still be available at 7. So they're gonna stop the slide for him.
Yeah, I thought he was gonna go as high as 2. I mean, in a lot of the mocks I've seen, he's pretty frequent to the Jets. But yeah, he was a beast at Texas Tech. A team that was very good in college football last year. I mean, outside of their college football playoff loss and their loss to ASU, every single one of their wins was by, I believe, 20 plus. And that defense was, one of the best in the nation. And also, I can see you're watching the Nuggets game in the background.
Yeah,
I'm watching.
I keep looking up. It's getting
4 minutes
very
left.
interesting.
Oh, okay. Oh. Yeah, this is a great game. So I will be, oh my gosh, and my stream literally just crashed. Did that happen
don't
to
worry. It's not just you.
Oh my gosh, wow, that's terrible.
Can I chime in with something real quick about the Commanders?
Yeah, go ahead.
So you made a good point where they desperately need more wide receivers, and I think that's 100% correct. The problem for the Commanders is they do not own their second round pick in this draft. So they go from pick 7, and their next pick is 71. So they're going to be waiting a while. And you can absolutely still grab like a day 2 guy, like looking over maybe a guy like Skylar Bell, Chris Brazel, Jeremy Bernard, someone like that is still available by their pick, but it's going to be tricky for them to get someone who can instantly slot in as a difference maker alongside McLaurin.
Yeah, I guess I didn't realize that there was that much of a gap between their picks. So like I could really see them going receiver. I think like in this mock, David Bailey is simply too good to just still be on the board. So they go and scoop up an impact pass rusher to really help that defense out.
Yeah, well, speaking of another team that could use some wide receiver help for sure, at 8 is the Saints, Keenan. And what are you thinking they'll do?
This one's tough. Again, another team that I think could absolutely go receiver here. Jordan Tyson makes a ton of sense. I mean, Olave and Tyson with helping out Tyler Shuck in his development, that would be huge. But, man, I'm really thinking I might go. Could this be the spot where Ruben Bain goes? They also desperately need edge help because Cam Jordan is gone. They lost a ton of veteran presence on their defense, and they really struggled on that side of the ball last season. Man, I'm gonna have to come down with my final decision here. You know what? We're gonna go Tyson, just because I like Ruben Bain a lot. He would be huge for the Saints. But again, the thought of having Tyson as your wider 2 alongside Olave, critical for proving if Tyler Shuck is the guy or not.
He'll be the wider 1 by week 6. Chris Olave, hand him a water.
Hope so. I hope so.
But I fear you might have doomed him, man. Why are you sending him to the Saints, the place where wide receivers go to get injured and die? Chris Olave, Michael Thomas. You're gonna send an injury-prone guy to a place where all the receivers get banged up? That's scary.
He's breaking the streak. He's going to be the exception. He's going to break the streak.
He doesn't exactly have the best track record with that.
Yes, I realize, but it would be perfectly ironic for the guy who his main demerit is injury history to be perfectly healthy in New Orleans of all places.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, poor Michael Thomas. Terrible. But that brings us to 9. Team that was in the Super Bowl 2 years ago, 6-11 this past year with Mahomes getting injured and a bunch of other things. But what are you thinking if you're the Chiefs? You're trying to get the dynasty back on track, Aidan.
I think this is a match made in heaven for me. Ruben Bain to the Chiefs. I think he is a very true Steve Spagnuolo edge rusher. Big. He's got above Spags edge rushers are always 260 plus. Ruben Bain is right there at 270. He defends the run. He's super powerful, and they desperately need to upgrade their pass rush. It cannot just be George Karlaftis. Chris Jones is getting up there in age, and then outside that you have Felix Anudike Uzama, who's not good. They need an upgrade at edge rush, and I think Ruben Bain can certainly help you out with that.
Yeah, I would 100% agree. To me, the Chiefs are a team that I think could go a number of ways with their number 9 overall pick. Could they potentially I mentioned this to Aidan, a hot take for me is could Sadiq go this high and be the heir apparent to Kelsey? Could they take someone like Mansour Delane to add to a quarterback room that they lost both Watson and McDuffie to the Rams? But to me, Ruben Bain just makes too much sense. I think the George Loftus extension just did not work out last season. And I think last year was also a warning shot that Chris Jones could be on the decline at this point in his career. I love the pick with Ruben Bain.
Yeah. Well, at pick 10, we would have had the Bengals if we made this a couple days ago. But it's the Giants. They got this pick, trading Dexter Lawrence. Before we even get into what you're going to say, with the pick, Keenan, I want to hear your guys' thoughts on the Giants trade in general, the Dexter Lawrence trade.
I'm kind of torn, to be quite honest with you. To me, it's just a little risky to me. Like I did not expect Lawrence to get a return rivaling the 10th overall pick in the draft. But at the same time, Dexter Lawrence, when he's fully healthy and capable, he's the best nose tackle in the entire NFL. And this is a Bengals a team that desperately needs any sort of star power on the defensive line. And I know people are saying that this is basically the Trey Hendrickson replacement. I do understand that, it is critical to get your pass rush up, and Dexter Lawrence can do that, but he's so much more than that. Like he's also fantastic at stopping the run. So I understand why the Bengals did it. It's just a little risky considering he had career lows across the board last season.
Yeah, I was just gonna say like the production has kind of dipped in the last couple of years for Dexter Lawrence, and the return was way higher than I thought it was gonna be. Like I really thought that the Bears had a chance to get him if they traded like pick 25. I did not think that the Giants would be able to get back a top 10 pick for Dexter Lawrence, especially like anytime a guy makes it known that like he wants to get traded. I feel like that usually brings down the value. Like a team is just desperate to get a deal done. So the fact that they were able to get the 10th pick back really surprised me.
Yeah, I think the way I view it when it's a trade this kind of simple and at the um, like right up against the draft. Like when you're trading for future picks, it's a little more messy, and I don't like to think about it that way. But when it's straight up for the 10th pick, would the Bengals have gotten a guy of Dexter Lawrence's quality at 10? Maybe, but if they did, like you'd be pretty stoked. Like you're basically drafting Lawrence at 10, and that feels like a pretty good pick. Then, like that's good value. Like it's just a little more guaranteed. And sure, the production dipped a little bit more in the sacks category, but I don't know. I still think he's really good in run support, and I still think he's providing pressure. He's going to swallow up double teams, and he is a good replacement for what Trey Hendrick was going to provide on this D line. So I don't mind it, and I guess I don't mind it for the Giants either. Like I'm kind of cool with both sides' logic, but I definitely like, especially in the NFL where I feel like it's a little bit less detrimental in the NFL to trade picks because you can only trade within 3 years. And you also have so many more picks and so many more players to deal with. So it's a little bit less detrimental than like, if an NBA team is without their first round pick for a little while, it can really drain the core you have. I mean, look at the Clippers, for example. They have no young talent. That's just never going to happen for an NFL team. But with all that being said, Keenan, who are you going with here at 10 for the Giants?
I think this has actually kind of fallen perfectly. If Tyson was still on the board, I would have had him go number 10 to the Giants just because there's been a ton of smoke pointing in that direction. But this is still fine because I'm just going to go Sonny Styles here. The Giants could really use an upgrade at linebacker. And Sonny Styles, I mean, if I would argue he had the best NFL combine performance out of anyone, and that's saying a lot. And obviously, you shouldn't just base, a guy's projection in the NFL draft off of what he does a couple days in Indianapolis. But I mean, Sonny Styles, he was fantastic at Ohio State. He would be another needed piece for the Giants defense, and just kind of another pick that fits the Harbaugh mold of what he wants to do on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, Giants pair Caleb Downs with Sonny Styles. I mean, you want to talk about bolstering the defense? That's certainly a way to do it.
Yeah. Well, that takes us to the Dolphins at 11. Went out and decided to go get Malik Willis, signed him to a decently sized contract. Honestly, not as much as I thought it might be. It could have been pretty crazy. But they bring in Malik Willis, a little bit of a change of guard from the Mike McDaniel, Tyreek Hill, Tua, Dolphins and Jalen Waddle being gone as well. So this kind of new era. Who else is going to join this team here, Aidan?
They have two needs that are really pressing, which is corner and receiver, obviously. I think they have to take receiver. Malik Washington cannot be your number one receiver. I'm going to go Mekhi Lemon. I was really debating Omar Cooper. I like him a lot, but I'm going to go Mekhi Lemon. I think he's just a very good player, plays above his size, really good hands, very physical, good after the catch. He's just a really good player. And you desperately need to give Malik Willis some help. Like his receiver core cannot be Malik Washington and Jalen Tolbert.
Yeah, I mean, actually, Jalen Tolbert's pretty cool when he's your wide R4 or whatever, and he comes down with one of those contested catches a game. But that is a pretty poor receiving room. So I understand the need and the want to go get someone who is has a little bit more upside to maybe be your wide receiver one than those guys. As we move in to pick number 12 here, I think we maybe get a little bit out of the territory of teams that are like in true despair as we move into the Cowboys, teams that are a little bit better. We had Dolphins, Giants. Chiefs aren't in true despair because they have Mahomes and whatnot, and they had a down year. But, Saints, Browns, Titans, Cardinals, Jets, Raiders, these teams need a lot of help. We get to the Cowboys, we get to teams that are more in the playoff picture regardless of who they draft, but they still obviously do need a very, very solid draft class. Who are you feeling at 12?
Got to stop the Mansour Delane slide here. He goes to Dallas. A lot of stuff coming out about Jermon McCoy today about how he may not go out in the first round, which is wild because I feel like he could, like, if he was fully healthy, he could be CB1 in this draft. But, I mean, Mansour Delane, he was incredible at LSU, top corner in this class, in my opinion. And he's basically replacing the spot that Trevon Diggs has occupied these last few seasons. Cowboys desperately need another team that their defense was just god-awful last season. They need any help on that side of the ball that they can get. And Mansour Delane is a huge piece for defensive coordinator Matt Eberflus. What a guy, huh?
How does he fails up? He fails upwards. It doesn't make sense to me. How does he still have a job? He was about to get fired from being the Colts defensive coordinator, and then got the Bears head coaching job. Was there for too long, had too long of a leash, and then he gets fired and just becomes the Cowboys defensive coordinator. It doesn't make sense to me.
Elite stuff, I guess. I don't know. I mean, most of the time when someone loses a job, they go downward. I don't know. Anyways, at 13, pick would have gone to the Falcons, but this one, when did the Rams acquire this pick?
This is when the Falcons, they traded back up into last year's draft, back into the first round so they could take James Pierce Jr., who is he's just having one heck of an offseason right now.
Huh. Yeah, what is going on with that situation? Is he
haven't
in
heard
jail?
anything.
I haven't heard anything new, so I don't really know. But clearly didn't work out exactly how they thought.
But either way, the Rams do get this pick at 13. Pretty premium pick to get the team back going. As they were certainly a contender for the Super Bowl this past year. We'll see if they can do it again. What are you thinking, Aidan?
This is going to be one of the more unique picks, probably for me. But I really like the fit. I'm going to go with Kenyon Sadiq at 13 here to the Rams. I know, some Rams fans will say they got the best tight end room in the NFL. I don't think Kenyon Sadiq is really going to play as a tight end for them. I think he plays more as a receiver. He can line up outside. He can line up in the slot. He just creates so many matchup nightmares for teams, as the Timberwolves are going to win the game.
Yeah.
But he's just is a mashup nightmare. He's so athletic at his size. Great route runner, really good hands. I know the production wasn't crazy, so this is a lot of projecting, but I think he can be a really good player. And with Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams getting older, it's another pass catcher is actually probably a bigger need than a lot of people realize. And I think Kenyon Sadiq in a Sean McVay offense would eat.
Oh, I wish I wasn't on the show. I could make a TikTok on this. What an incredible game! Second biggest comeback in Timberwolves history. 19 points they were down by the Timberwolves against the Nuggets. This is always such a good series. Okay. Anyways, Kenyon Sadiq, Keenan. What else do you have to say?
Yeah, I agree. He's not your typical tight end prospect, and it makes a ton of sense where I could see McVay just kind of moving him away from the tight end room a bit, which is already kind of crowded with Parkinson and Ferguson, and just making him more of a wide R type weapon.
What's up?
That'd make a ton of sense to me.
What are you looking for?
Where's my charger?
Are we?
It's up on the counter.
I'm seeing Mr. Smith and Mr. Dobell on the same screen.
He's just looking for a charger. We're all good.
Unfortunately, I think the Rams kind of get a bad shake in this mock draft because I think that they would be gunning for one of the top 3 wideouts on the board. But unfortunately, in this case, Carnell Tate and Tyson both go top 10, and then Mekhi Lemon goes 11 to the Dolphins. So they would need, I don't think they're going to reach on someone like a Concepcion or Omar Cooper Jr. I think they're more likely to pick someone like Sadiq. So I agree with you, Aidan.
I was trying to nonchalantly go grab my charger, but I thought it was plugged into the wall because that's where I left it. But Aiden moved it because he needed to have space for his charger, and I wasn't able to. I wasn't able to pull it off as I wanted. But yeah, I mean,
that's all good.
He's more like, I don't know. The Rams do have a good tight end room, but it's not like he's not a hand in the mud block, and he's just going to be used in different ways. So yeah. I don't think it's a concern that they have really good tight ends. I don't think that should stop them if you like Sadiq. And that's a different story entirely. But if you do, you shouldn't be stopped by what, Kobe Parkinson and who am I forgetting?
Tyler Ferguson or Terrence Ferguson.
Yeah, Terrence Ferguson.
I don't think that should stop you from getting. I don't think that should stop you from getting a good player. But at 14, Keenan, we're almost about halfway through here. Who do you have the Ravens taking?
Man, I feel like, to me, and I know this has been done to death, but I feel like, and I always say his name wrong, Olayi Vavenga Ioane is the pick for me for the Ravens. I always struggle with his first name, but to me,
I just go Vega.
Yeah, just Vega Ioane. Ioane. To me, the Ravens desperately need to bolster their offensive line. The guard spot was definitely a weakness for them last season. They need, obviously the offensive line is paramount with Lamar Jackson's health. He struggled with it last season. Probably not the sexiest pick in terms of putting the Ravens back in the Super Bowl contending tier, but I think it's absolutely needed.
Yeah, he's such a good player. Like he is
good.
He is literally just a plug and play starter at guard, which is a big need for the Ravens. Like you draft him and immediately he's your starting right guard. Like that is what Vega Ioane does.
Yeah, and I mean, the Ravens O-line wasn't as good. 8 and 9. Lamar was out for a big portion of that, but they were bad before him. So I'll be interested to see how they bounce back this year. Another 8 and 9 team, though, and another one that was also in the playoff race for maybe longer than they should have been. The Buccaneers at 15.
Well, this is a spot I like as well for Kenyon Sadiq, but he's off the board. And I don't really think that there's a linebacker worth taking this early. So I am going to go with a pass rusher. Give me Mr. Akeem Mesidor at 15 here. Maybe a little earlier than some people think, due to some of his injury concerns, and he is one of the older prospects in this draft. I think at the time that I don't know what his age is right now, but I know at the start of next season he will be a 25-year-old rookie, which is kind of wild. But he is just such a good pass rusher. Like he offers so much to a team pass rush wise, and the Buccaneers really need some help in that area. And like Mesidor is a guy who will step in and like immediately he will provide that for you.
25-year-old rookie is crazy because what? How long is a rookie contract? Is it 4 years?
4 years. If you're a first-round pick, you get a fifth-year option. So by the end of his rookie contract, he could be like 29, 30 years old, which is wild.
And then can they franchise tag him after that?
Yeah, I
31
think so.
years old when he's hitting free agency for the first time.
Yeah, that is a very real possibility, which is nuts. But like he's a very good pass rusher. So, I don't think the age should scare teams off too much of just drafting a guy who can be an impact edge rusher.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I guess NFL, lifespans are pretty short anyways. So why not go get a guy who's going to be pretty good? Um, Here at pick 16, we've officially reached the halfway point. Just at 45 minutes on the show. Keenan, who do you have the Jets taking? This is their second pick. There's a lot of teams in this draft that have 2 first-round picks. I believe it's 6. I think the Browns have 2. Let's see if I can name them all. The Browns have 2. The Jets have 2. The Giants have 2. The Chiefs have 2. Do the Saints have 2?
No.
The Dolphins have 2.
The Dolphins have 2, and who else has 2? Who did I miss?
I know the Chiefs have 2.
I said that.
And
If you said that,
did you say the Cowboys?
No, I did not. So there we go. But
Cowboys
the
have
Jets
2
do
as
have
well.
2. And who do you have them taking, Keenan? You had them taking Arvell Reese at pick 2.
I'm going to go Omar Cooper Jr. here. I think the other glaring need for the Jets is they need more wide receiver talent. I think Adonai Mitchell is definitely a guy they'll be monitoring to see if he has untapped potential and if he can have a role in their offense. But I think Omar Cooper Jr. is just a really intriguing complement to Garrett Wilson. Omar Cooper Jr., what I love about him is he is probably the best receiver in this class in terms of making something happen after the catch. He is so hard to bring down. He's a great route runner, rarely drops the ball. I love the pick with Omar Cooper Jr. here. I think he'd be a really great fit for the Jets offense.
Yeah.
I love Omar Cooper Jr.
Yeah. So that gets us, we're past the halfway point of the draft. Pick 17, the Lions, Aidan.
I kind of can't believe this guy's still on the board, and the fit makes so much sense. Give me Monroe Freeling to the Lions. They're potentially talking about moving Penei Sewell over from right tackle to left tackle, just because that's such a big need with the departure of Taylor Decker. Monroe Freeling can, if you draft Monroe Freeling, you don't necessarily need Penei Sewell to move over to left tackle. You can keep him at right tackle, and you can play Freeling at left tackle. And now you have both tackle spots shored up again. He's a really good player, really good athlete, really good size. Didn't play a lot in college, so he is still pretty raw as a prospect, but the upside on Monroe Freeling is tremendous.
Yeah, I feel like the Lions, to me, are one of those teams come draft night where it's pretty clear cut in terms of what position they're going to pick in the first round. We saw how badly their offensive line was affected by losing Frank Ragnow, and now they lose Taylor Decker. Monroe Freeling is an excellent selection here. The only knock on him is he lacks a lot of the experience that some of the other offensive line prospects have. But again, he's a Georgia prospect. Of course, he tested incredibly well at the combine. His explosiveness and his athleticism is just off the charts.
Yeah. We get into pick 18. This is our, I should have said this with the Lions because they're also a team above 500. But we get into the teams that are above 500. Also 2 NFC North teams back to back. Who do you have the Vikings taking at 18 here?
I could see why people would call this lazy because for the Vikings, I think their secondary need that I could see them addressing here is defensive line. I think could be addressed, or maybe they bolstered their cornerback room. But I think Dylan Thieneman is the pick here for the Vikings simply because they need a replacement for Harrison Smith. Dylan Thieneman, he's got so much potential. I'm not going to outright guarantee that he'll be as good as Harrison Smith. That's a high bar to live up to, but I think that's a great head start on just kind of recouping some of the talent that you lose by letting Smith walk.
Yeah, Thieneman he's such a good player. Super, really good athlete, really rangy, free safety. Downs is a great football player, but he's not really a free safety. Thieneman is a true single high free safety.
Yeah, and even if he is as good as Harrison Smith has quite a long career. How long has he been around? Up until
Let's see, he's 37 years old, so he probably had a 15-year NFL
15-ish
career.
year career. A lot of Pro Bowls in there. I'd have to look that up. But yeah, quite a long time. So, I really doubt you're going to get that level of production. But even if you get 50%, that would be pretty freaking sick. But then we get to my Carolina Panthers.
Your Carolina Panthers?
Who is going to help Bryce Young be successful, Aidan? I need to know.
I think they really need help defensively. The linebacker room is not great. The defensive line is not great, but I don't know that there's really a edge rusher or interior defensive lineman to take. So this is where I am going to go linebacker, help that room out. I'm going to go C.J. Allen out of Georgia. Just very, very good player. Really physical. He wore the green dot at Georgia, so he was the one making all the calls. I believe there's a story or something that came out about him where like there were times where the defensive coordinator was not even calling the plays defensively. Like they were just like, CJ Allen, you call the plays defensively. Like he is that level of mind, and he's just a really, really good football player.
Yeah, I mean, I think Todd McShay said it best when he said that CJ Allen is more substance than flash. And at the end of the day, you're getting one of the best leaders in terms of adding a piece to your defense. I think getting Devin Lloyd and Jalen Phillips, it definitely lessens the blow for the Panthers defense because, heading into the offseason, the defense was absolutely the critical weakness for the Panthers. And I'm not saying those two, are the be all and end all, like, hey, let's just completely remove defense off our draft board. But I think this could also open up, like, what if maybe they focus a little bit more on cornerback? What if they focus maybe on protecting Bryce Young, giving Bryce Young someone else to throw to? I love the pick with CJ Allen. I think this will be one where I really am, I'm questioning what the pick will be before it's made.
Yeah, well, we get to, once again, another team that has 2 draft picks, the team that I had forgotten, the Cowboys. Earlier you took you also had this pick, Keenan, so I think both times, yeah. Every time that we've had someone pick twice, no, because Keenan, you had both the Jets picks and both of the Cowboys picks, but you guys split the Giants picks, so a little bit of that was a little bit of a group effort, but this time you'll have the Cowboys again. So, Keenan.
Man, I feel like I got to go. And this is one where if this pick is made, I could absolutely see Cowboys fans just melting down. And he's just been a prospect I've seen his name kind of drag through the mud. And I kind of understand to a degree because he's still got a lot he needs to work on, especially having such a dip in his production in 2025. But I'm going to go Keldrick Falk here from Auburn. They just desperately need to upgrade their pass rush. And, Keldrick Falk at his worst, you've got an outstanding defender when it comes to stopping the run on your hands. If he can get back to what he was in 2024, you've got a two-way player who is great at stopping the run and excellent at getting to the quarterback. He just needs to get back to his potential.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen Jerry Jones make moves to try to be better at defending the run. Like that's why he traded Michael Parsons. And you bring in like Quinnen Williams, and I think Keldrick Falk would be he's such a cowboy. Like they want to be able to stop the run, and Keldrick Falk is absolutely going to help you do that. And like he's a younger prospect, and like the pass rush production was pretty good for him last year. So, like there certainly is a lot to like with Keldrick Falk as a prospect. Even if a lot of people are more down on him because of the limited pass rush from 2025.
Yeah, well, we get to a team in the Steelers at pick 21 here that for the second straight offseason, it doesn't really know what's going on with Aaron Rodgers if he's going to make that full commitment. But either way, even if you're getting him back for one more year, you're not going to get him for very long at 42 years old. Are you going to attack QB here, Aidan, at pick 21, or are you going to rely on Rodgers?
They have some other needs, notably on the offensive line. But how much longer can you trust in Aaron Rodgers and Do you like Will Howard? I don't know. This is going to be the Ty Simpson spot for me at 21 to Pittsburgh. The draft is in Pittsburgh, so we'll see what the Steelers fans' reaction to this is. But I think QB absolutely needs to be addressed for Pittsburgh. Um, I think new head coach Mike McCarthy. I think he could. I think he could certainly like to try to get the replacement post Aaron Rodgers. I know supposedly Rodgers and McCarthy don't have like a great relationship, so maybe Rodgers doesn't even want to play for McCarthy. And then what are your options at quarterback? I think Ty Simpson could be a really good player. For his sake, I hope Rodgers comes back so he can sit for a year. Um, but like, I think he is. I think he's a good player who saw a dip in production due to some injury stuff, but still had a pretty good year last year.
Yeah, where do you guys sit generally on Simpson as a prospect? Because I think there's pretty mixed views from he should go over to Mendoza to he's a little small guy, can't throw the football, bad tape towards the end of the
I,
year.
I mean, I know what I saw the first half of last season. Simpson's got a ton of potential. It's just his second half was so rough, and I don't know, you know, what exactly happened, whether he was battling injury or not, but he looked like a shell of himself. And to me, I just wonder what his ceiling can be. He doesn't. The problem with me is I know that teams are desperate to have an answer at quarterback, but when I watch Simpson, I'm not sure if he screams, future star as his ceiling. He honestly, he could just be like solid at his best.
I think that's fair. Yeah, I think he's a solid, not great prospect. Where like he's just like he's he's very solid in a draft where it's really bare at quarterback. He probably goes higher and gets pushed up the board a lot higher than maybe he should. Um, like, but QB is the most valuable position, and the Steelers really need one, so they're going to go with Ty Simpson.
Yeah. Well, that gets us to pick number 22, and the Chargers. Who do you have them taking, Keenan?
Yeah, this one's a little tricky. I feel like to me, I think edge rusher is a critical need for the Chargers heading into this draft. I think this could be where I'm going to go TJ Parker here from Clemson. Unfortunately, with a lot of Clemson guys, I feel like they would go a lot higher in the draft if last season was just a disaster all around for the program. And Parker was another guy where his production just fell off of a cliff in 2025, but he's still like a really solid prospect. Greatly adds to the Chargers pass rush. It gives Harbaugh another weapon to get to the quarterback. They could go a number of ways here. I think, obviously could never hurt to get another offensive line in there to protect Herbert with how terrible and banged up their offensive line was last season. Could they even go interior defensive line? But to me, I think I like Parker here.
Yeah, yeah. TJ Parker was another guy who was outstanding in 24, not as great at 2025, but he dominated at the Senior Bowl. He's a really good athlete. Um, I think he's just a very good player, and I really like the fit to him with at 22.
Yeah, well, that gets us to the Eagles at pick 23, Aiden.
Um, I think you need to try to address the Lane Johnson replacement long term. And there's a couple guys who can do that. I'm going to go with Caden Proctor. I think that is the pick. I think they're going to be really interested and intrigued with kind of what they see with Jordan Mailata, adding a larger than life, really good athlete, like with high upside. Like Caden Proctor is 6'7", almost 370 pounds. He is a mountain of a man and a very good athlete. Um, I think if you let him kind of sit behind Lane Johnson for a year or so, try to develop him a little bit, like you have a replacement when, you know, if slash when Lane Johnson goes down at some point during the season. Um, yeah, I think the Eagles would really like Caden Proctor.
Yeah, well, at just over an hour here, we get into
Long mock draft, but
at just over an hour we get into the Browns' second pick. Certainly, when the Browns acquired this one from the Jaguars, in the deal that got the Jaguars Travis Hunter and the Browns moved back to, I think it was the fifth pick. I thought this one was going to be a lot higher. I didn't think the Jaguars were going to be as good as they were, but went 13-4, and that caused this pick to be slide back a little bit to number 24. But Keenan, earlier in this draft, the Browns you decided to take Carnell Tate. I'm assuming you're probably going to go tackle here. Or O-line.
You would be correct. I think it should be offensive tackle. And to me, it comes down to either Caleb Lomu or Blake Miller, especially with Proctor now off the board. I think I'm going to go. Wait, have we said, Aiden, have we said Spencer Fano yet?
We have not said his name. He is still available.
Give me Spencer Fano. I will gladly give him to the Browns. I can't believe we let him fall that far. Spencer Fano, there was definitely some concerns about his arm length, which obviously you have to take that kind of thing semi-seriously with offensive line prospects. But the thing I love about Spencer Fano is he's so versatile. He can play all over the offensive line. You want to play at center? You can do that. And again, the Browns, they have to attack wide receiver and offensive line, those two positions. I don't care which order they do it, which one they take first with the first of their two picks. Those have to be the two positions they attack.
Yeah, I would argue he could probably play every offensive line position other than maybe left tackle just due to that arm length. But he's so versatile, such a good athlete, like just a very good player, and you can kind of just plug him wherever you see fit, wherever the need is on the offensive line.
Yeah. Well, now you get to pick for your very favorite team, the Chicago Bears, here at 25. Ideally, Aiden, you're the GM. Who do you want the Bears to take?
There's a couple guys that I think would be good fits. But this is a prospect I've really fallen in love with. I'm going to go Emmanuel McNeil-Warren out of Toledo. Big, strong, like explosive safety. If you watch his tape, he hits so hard, and I think that he would be a perfect Jaquan Brisker replacement with Kobe Bryant being like the Kevin Byard replacement as your free safety. That is an elite safety tandem, and I know that they need edge rusher and interior defensive line. I think you can get interior defensive line with one of your two second-round picks, and I think the Bears are actually fairly high on Austin Booker as a player. So I don't know that they go edge in the first round. And then, like I said, the interior defensive line class is pretty deep. So I think they could go with that at 57 or 60.
Yeah. Keenan, who are you feeling at pick 26 here for the Bills?
I think Casey Concepcion is going to be the pick here for Buffalo. I mean, we've kind of already touched on it, I think, in past shows. I mean, the Bills' track record when it comes to getting wide receivers to help Josh Allen has just been a disaster. Curtis Samuel, Joshua Palmer, Keon Coleman, they just all flamed out. And I think Casey Concepcion he was one of my favorite wide receivers to watch in college football last season, regardless of the fact that he played for my least favorite program in college football. He's excellent playmaker. Definitely needs to work on his hands, though, which I know with how badly Keon Coleman flopped for the Bills might have those fans rolling their eyes. But I love Casey Concepcion here. Got to get some help for Josh.
And played with one of the some of the worst quarterback play out of probably the top end wide receiver prospects. Outside of them getting Diggs, which was a very successful ad, obviously, for the Bills. Who's been the second best receiver for Josh Allen? That lone, one or two John Brown seasons early on?
And then...
Oh, my gosh, JB, I totally forgot about him. Cole Beasley?
Yeah, and then the the Khalil Shakir, he's been pretty good, but like you need more. They really have not done a great job at surrounding him with receiving threats.
Yeah, but that brings us to pick 49 with the Niners.
This is another guy that I can't believe that he's kind of still available. I'm gonna go with Jermon McCoy. We're gonna stop the draft slide for him. I know people were concerned over the injury stuff. He did not play at all in 2025. He was recovering from a torn ACL. Um, but this is a guy that if he was healthy, like we'd be talking about him like a top 5 pick. He is so good. The 2024 tape is so good. And I think the Niners probably could use an upgrade in their secondary, but I think this is a case of just take the best player still available on the board and figure it out from there. Like he is such a good player. If the injury stuff kind of is all clear, which it seemed like it was for how he tested at his pro day, you're going to get a great player with Jermon McCoy.
Yeah. Well, Aidan had a chance to pick who he would most desire for the Bears for his favorite team. Keenan, here at 28 for the Texans. Who are you dying for them to take?
My expectation, to be quite honest with you, is that by the time this pick rolls around on Thursday, the Texans will not be the team making the selection. I fully expect them to trade down because that's what Nick Caserio loves to do. But if we are assuming that they stick and pick, I would really like it if they picked Mr. Caden McDonald from Ohio State. It wouldn't surprise me if they don't love picking defensive tackle this high, seeing as D'Amico Ryans loves just running with defensive linemen by committee. But Caden McDonald he's such a beast, such a hog on the defensive line. And considering how the Texans defensive line really struggled to stop the run later in the season in 2025, mainly due to attrition and injury, I think adding McDonald just be could be, I don't want to say like the final piece needed, but that's a big step into making sure this defense is at the same level that it was last season.
Yeah, I mean, McDonald was like the best run defending defensive tackle in all of college football last year. Like he's such a good player. If I didn't go Emmanuel McNeil Warren at 25, I would have gone with Cade McDonald.
Yeah. Well, one of the last teams that has 2 picks, this one from the Rams to the Chiefs at pick 29. Second to last pick for you, Aidan.
Yeah. I think let's see. So the Chiefs went with Ruben Bain at 9. And this is a position that they desperately need to address, especially after getting rid of Trent McDuffie. Give me Avion Terrell to slide into that cornerback room. Little brother of AJ Terrell. He's a really good player. He's a little undersized, but like he's such a good player, really good technique. And like the Chiefs cornerback room is pretty bare right now. I think Avion Terrell would fill a very big need, and you go 2 defensive picks, and the Chiefs walk out of this draft feeling, or at least this first round, feeling very good about how they did.
Yeah. Well, then we get to our last team that has multiple selections here with the Dolphins. Keenan, who do you got?
I think with the news about the Patriots still being very interested in AJ Brown, my focus or any chance of the Patriots going wide receiver in round 1 is gone for me. And it moves to adding a piece on the defensive line.
This is the Dolphins.
It wouldn't surprise.
You're with the Dolphins right now at 30.
Man. See, it's the Chiefs. Sorry. Casey, I saw you typing on the Dolphins on the document and I lost track. So if we're going with the Dolphins and Terrell is off the board, man, because that hurts the Dolphins because they could really use a cornerback as well. If Terrell is there for Miami, I think he's the no-brainer selection. Man, I think it wouldn't be crazy if someone like Colton Hood went off the board for Miami. I think that might be the pick for me. Yeah, we'll go Colton Hood. Maybe not the sexiest pick, but the Dolphins cornerback room is at critical mass, and Hood was very solid for Tennessee. He just, he adds another just needed talent in the secondary for the Dolphins.
Yeah, he was really good with the absence of Jermon McCoy last season at Tennessee. Only has 1 year under his belt as a starter, but he was just a very good player. And like, yeah, the Dolphins cornerback room with like, was it Cater Kohu, and I don't even know who else that they really have. Uh,
Storm Duck, Artie
it's
Burns.
it's not a good cornerback room. So Colton Hood, I really like that pick for them.
All right, so this is your last pick of the draft, Aiden. Um, Patriots at 31.
Um, I think that they could certainly look to, like Keenan was hinting at, certainly look to upgrade on the defensive line. Um, Boy, I don't know. Do I want interior off defensive line, um, or edge rusher? I think they feel pretty good about the edge rusher. I don't know that they feel so good about the interior defensive line. Um, I'm gonna go with Peter Woods. This is a guy who has super high upside. He was excellent in 2024. Not nearly as good in 2025, and I think he has some concerns over his maybe overall effort or lack thereof. But really good size, really good athlete. Um, I think Mike Vrabel would like him a lot, and I think he would be a big upgrade for the interior defensive line for New England.
Yeah, I mean that was the exact pick that I was gonna make if you didn't get me back on track. Um, yeah, Peter Woods had an excellent 2024. I could definitely see Mike Vrabel believing that he can get him back to his potential. To me, the other person I wouldn't be surprised to see picked here is Max Ahinachor from ASU. And that's mainly because, as someone who's been like wired into Ahinachor's rise over the past few months, uh, Mike Vrabel personally made the trip down to Tempe to work one on one with Max at ASU's Pro Day, and it seems like it went really well. The Patriots could absolutely still use some more upgrades to their offensive line and protect Drake May. I mean, we all watched the Super Bowl. So that's the other guy I could see there, but Peter Woods is a great fit for the Patriots.
All right, well, that leads us to the very last pick of the draft here with the Seahawks. Keenan, who are you taking as the last first round pick?
I think it is going to end up, I know a lot of people were believing that Jadarian Price would be the pick here. He's the obvious Kenneth Walker replacement, but I think losing um, so many pieces at edge is that's a critical position for the Seahawks to replace. Losing Boya Mafe really hurts. I'm going to go with Zion Young here. Beast at Missouri, tons of potential for, and especially if you're giving him to a guy like Mike Donald to get the best out of him at edge rusher. That's huge for the Seahawks to replace what they lost during the offseason.
Yeah, well, that wraps up the mock draft. General thoughts.
I like how it went. I think there's some guys who probably went a little later in our mocks than they might go in real life. Um, but overall, I feel pretty good about how it went.
I think the message that should be, communicated before the draft happens is that I wouldn't be surprised if our mock is just completely wrong because I think there's going to be a lot of moving and shaking on Thursday. There's going to be a lot of guys that I think go way higher than people expect, maybe guys that fall way more than people expect. This is going to be a really, really volatile and interesting round one. I'm so excited.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Just there's not a ton of like true blue chip prospects once you get outside of like David Bailey and like Caleb Downs and like Jeremiah Love. So like I think there's going to be several trades made in the first round.
This mock draft made me realize how washed I am. How many players do you think I have legitimately like never heard of. Like I heard their name and I have never heard of.
Let's see. There's 32 picks. I'm gonna go 18.
I think you kind of stopped keeping track at around pick 11 because I would watch you like you didn't know how to spell their names. So that kind of led me to believe like maybe I'm going to say around like 17 to 18 guys you don't know.
I knew Mendoza, Reese, Maui Noah, Love, Downs, Carnell Tate, David Bailey, Jordan Tyson, Ruben Bain, Sonny Styles, Makai Lemon. Did not know Delane. Did not know Vega, Akeem, Monroe, Feeling, Dylan, Thieneman, CJ Allen, Keldrick Folk, TJ Parker, Emmanuel McNeil Warren, Jermod McCoy, Caden McDonald, Avion Terrell, Colton Hood, Peter Woods, and the last guy, which I didn't even write down the rundown because I missed it. I just could not spell that. So 15. I just did not know at all.
About half the draft. It's pretty
completely honest with you. No, man, I'm just like not tapped in at all. Like I'm just so dialed in on hoops. And like the fantasy,
understandably so.
the fantasy football stuff. But do you know that one Family Guy clip where it's like celebrities you've never heard of?
Yes.
That's what it felt like for me. I'll see it. Wait, let me see if I can pull it up real quick. No, it's just gonna be too difficult to find. I'll look it up on TikTok after, and I'll show it to you because I don't think Keenan knows what I'm talking about. But that's legitimately what
I know exactly what you're talking about.
I'm glad you do, which just shows that I need to be better by the PHNX draft party because I'm literally going out to do that. So it's going to be a bit of a... I'm just helping out with like production stuff. I'll be fine. But let's talk about hoops. Yeah, let's talk about some basketball. I want to go over all the series real quick. Some stuff I can actually have real cohesive thoughts on other than, I know about that guy. I think he seems pretty good. That guy, I've watched a lot of these games. I've been very tapped in with the NBA playoff. So let's start off with the first game that went on today, which was Cavs Raptors. And I kind of talked about it in the TikTok I made earlier today, but I feel like Toronto just doesn't have the pieces to compete from what I've seen in this. They've tried a bunch of different stuff. They're, shout out Darko, the Raptors coach. He was blitzing Donovan Mitchell. He was doubling James Harden. He was putting ball pressure up high. He was trying to like let Mobley or Allen or some of the shooters like Strus or Merrill beat them, but it really just did not matter as much as like guys like Scotty and Barrett were playing pretty good defensively. Donovan Mitchell was just shooting over them or snaking in around and getting to the rim. Harden was drawing fouls at the 3-point line, and they were making really good passes off of the doubles. And then offensively, I mean, in game 2, Brandon Ingram had a terrible game. What did he go? 3 for 15? Not good at all.
3 for 15 and 5 turnovers as well.
Terrible game. You had really good games out of the wings, like Scotty, Barrett, Colin Murray-Boyles, Mamu, like all played well. Like you got a good Jacoby Walter game. He was hitting threes, but it's very obvious to me that Jakob Poeltl played 9 minutes. They got 9 center minutes. So they need a true big man who's better than Jakob Poeltl. He's getting paid too much, and he's just not very good. And they need a lead guard who's going to create for others, because as much as like Scotty is a good passer and like RJ can make some of his own shots and whatnot, they need a guard who's going to set everyone else up, because Shed is like, oh my gosh, all the love in the world to Jamal Shed. He played 38 minutes. 3 points, 3 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals, and a block. He's a good passer. He can be a little bit of a scrappy defender. He cannot create his own shot at all at the NBA level. 3 points in 38 minutes is just 1 for 5, absolutely terrible. He's too small. And then quickly is banged up in the series. I don't know if he's going to play. He's getting paid too much anyways. It is so evident to me that, shout out the Raptors. They've had a great season. They need to go out and get a guard who's going to set other people up.
Yeah, like it can't all be on Scotty Barnes and RJ Barrett. Brandon Ingram, you would hope is able to kind of have a bounce back game in Game 3 because they're gonna need to win that game, otherwise the series is over. Um, but like I dare I say it might already be over. Like the fact that Jakob Poeltl basically is a playoff DNP, he just isn't good enough, and like they're doing everything they can to try to throw whatever lineups that they possibly can at the Cavs. But like Evan Mobley was eating. He was 11 of 13. Like he, it was very clear that, and Donovan Mitchell just was getting to the rim at will. Like it was very clear that the Raptors just did not have the paint defense and the paint presence capable of stopping the Cavs.
Yeah, I mean, all respect to Jamal. I mean, he's one of probably my favorite
Yeah,
Houston Cougar
I
of all
was,
time. But man, it's been rough. It really has been rough watching him this postseason. I mean, like 37 minutes, 3 points. Like, I mean,
he's
shoot.
always
It's a mess, dog. Like Colin Murray Boyles he had more points than both Ingram and Shed combined.
yeah. I mean, Shed has always been like he's just been when you accidentally become important at work. Like the Raptors have just lost all their guards, and like
Disaster.
the stream just crashed.
As soon as we talked about Jamal, that's when it all went wrong.
No, okay, it's back. It wasn't even like the Wi-Fi cut. Like it just exploded,
It just
and
was
it
off.
said
It was just
OBS will let you know when you're okay. Well, that's fine. We're back. Anyways, no, Shed's always been more of a passer. Coming into the league, I didn't expect a whole lot of him. I'm surprised he's getting this much run. Like it's kind of crazy to see in real time, and we love Jamal Shed. Like he had some crazy games at Houston, but yeah, they just don't have the stuff. Shot 27% from three. That's not super out of the range of outcomes for him. So I would say Cavs in 5 or 6. I mean,
yeah, maybe 4. Maybe they
maybe
sweep.
4.
I feel like the Raptors are good enough to get 1 in Toronto, but that's about it.
It depends on like how quickly can quickly come back for Toronto.
Yeah. Yeah, they really do genuinely need his playmaking for others. The other series that we got to see today, Hawks Knicks. Keenan and I didn't quite get to appreciate the end of this game, so why don't you clue us in on everything that really the meat of it, Aidan? Because the end was pretty wild.
The end was pretty wild. The Hawks came down, I believe, were they down like 19 or something like that at one point in this game?
They were down 14 was the most.
14. I mean, they were down like 192 with 5.5 minutes left, and they won the game 107-106. Like it was a great defense late. They started just hitting some shots. Like I believe the dagger was I think they were up. I want to say they were up like 2. No, they were up. I think might have been up.
What
1.
happened was I can walk us through what happened.
Yeah,
at
I
the
think
end
they
of
were.
the game.
I think they were up 1 after Brunson hit a 3, and then McCollum missed them both.
What happened?
Like
Yes, they were up 1. Brunson had hit a 3. McCollum went to the free throw line. CJ, who by the way was cooking down the stretch of this game, and ended up with 32 and 6, which is nuts. And CJ misses both free throws. The Knicks get the rebound. They go down the court. They have about 5 seconds left. No timeout. Mikal Bridges bricks the game winner.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, the Hawks were down 8. They had all sorts of stuff going on down the break. The CJ stuff, the solid defense. I said that this was the series that I was the most hung up on, and I could totally see it going 7.
Yeah, sorry. The sequence I was trying to remember was right before that. The Knicks were down 2, and Brunson drove inside, got ripped, and then the Hawks got a dunk, and then he went back down and hit a 3.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Who was it that ripped the ball away?
It might have been Jalen Johnson. I know he got the dunk, but on Brunson, I don't really remember.
I don't remember either. I watched the end of the game off of someone's laptop during the meeting. Yeah, I mean, this was a fantastic game through and through.
Yeah.
I
Um,
don't love the no timeout call at the end of the game after CJ misses two.
I don't, because you got to get the ball. You got to get the ball in Jalen Brunson's hands. Straight up, you got to get it to your best playmaker, and they didn't. Instead, they got a Mikal Bridges tough shot. I don't love it.
And
But yeah, I
yeah,
mean, it
and Mikal was really struggling. Like to that point in the game, he was 3 for 9. He finished 3 for 10. He was not having a great game, and I mean Brunson was cooking. Like you simply have to let him have the last shot.
Yeah. General thoughts on the series. I kind of talked about how I thought it was going to come down to Dyson Daniels shooting. They've been leaving him open. He has just been like, no, I'm just not going to shoot. I'm not even going to take them. 0 for 2 in the first game, 0 for 1 in this game. He's legitimately just been like, I'm going to play really good defense. I'm going to get rebounds and assists and steals. I'm going to do everything but score. And like, they've survived off of it. It'd be nice if he could do a little more. It'd be nice if he could hit a standstill three. But yeah, a lot of the stuff has been what I said. It's been, having the 4 or 5 guys who can put the ball on the floor, alongside a shooting center in a Kongwu who went 2 for 3 in this one. They have the wing bodies to throw at New York, and it's been really successful. Another thing to mention, back to back. No, not back to back because he played in game 1, but he just didn't. He only played 2 minutes, so damn near back to back DNPs for the Rizzler, Zachary Rizache.
Yeah. One of the all like it, I always struggle to look at it where like with Bus, where like who else was in the draft? Like who else could you have gotten with that pick? Alex Sarr was probably the correct
Klingon, he's
number
too
one
big to
overall pick.
fail.
Klingon, I know Klingon's been awesome. I don't think there was ever a world where he was going to be the number one overall pick in that draft. Um, but like Zachary Richase being a number one overall pick who is getting playoff DNPs is tough.
Yeah. But that's all I got on the Hawks game. Wolves Nuggets. That was literally going on while we were doing our show this last game. Wolves tied up 1-1. I mean, I think we all knew this was going to be an elite series. These two teams are ultra competitive. They've had good playoff matchups before. And down the stretch, we kind of saw Ant get away from the jump shot and go downhill, and that is the right decision. I think we both agreed, Aidan.
Yeah, I mean, he's so athletic, so strong as well. Like, get downhill, get to the line, like get to the rim. Don't. I think game 1 we saw him settling a lot, like just on jump shots. He just didn't look like him. He just didn't look like himself, quite frankly. And this game he did. He still struggled from the 3, but he had 30 points overall. Got to the line. He also grabbed 10 rebounds, which is like he was the leading rebounder on the team, which is super impactful. So if we can get more games like that out of him, this might be another series that is pushing to go to 7 games.
Yeah. But I honestly don't have much else. Like, I feel like we know this matchup. Like, it's Timberwolves, it's Nuggets. It's going to be close. It's going to be competitive. They're both very physical. They're both some of the most talented teams out in the West. I don't have a whole lot to say. So those were the games that happened today. Let's go back to the series that started yesterday. No, we'll also talk Lakers-Rockets because they're going to play tomorrow. They've already had a game. Lakers went up 1-0 on the Rockets. I'm assuming you were able to catch this, Keenan?
It was kind of tough for me to catch this because I was having to cover ASU's scrimmage for football. So I missed a lot of this game. But as soon as I saw Kevin Durant was ruled out for this game, I immediately panicked because he's the oil to this machine. This offense barely functions without him. And lo and behold, the offense was just not very good. I mean, Reed Shepherd, he had 17 points, but he was 6 of 20 on the game. As soon as I saw Josh Okogie he was in the starting 5 and he received 26 minutes on the floor, I knew something had gone horribly wrong. It was just a great day for the Lakers. And Aiden and I were joking about it yesterday. I mean, DeAndre Ayton was just feasting in this one. 19 points, 8 of 10 shooting. If he had been playing like that his entire career, he would still be here. But yeah, just horrible game one for the Rockets. Have to rebound after this.
Yeah, this was one I didn't
I
get to see
mean,
quite as much. I'm interested to see how game 2 goes because the Rockets are just like a sloppy mess when it comes to moving the ball around offensively. And I figured that they would be at least able to manage against the Lakers, but game 1 was ugly.
the difference in shooting efficiency is striking. I mean, the Rockets went 35 for 93 and 11 of 33 from three, and the Lakers shot 61% from the field. Like they were so efficient. They were getting to the rim. I That might be my biggest fear with this Houston Rockets team is the rim protection or really lack thereof like with Alperen Şengün. Like he just doesn't offer a lot of rim protection, and when you have LeBron facilitating as well as he is, when DeAndre Ayton remembers, wow, I'm 7 foot and a really good athlete. Let me just catch lobs from LeBron and just dunk the ball. Like if the Lakers play like this, um, they're going to look really good in this series. Obviously, I don't know how many games we could really expect to get like that out of Luke Kennard. He was unreal. Um, but you got one good Luke Kennard game, and that was enough to get game one.
Yeah. Um, but let's get to the games from yesterday. Spurs Blazers first, and Victor Wembanyama looked absolutely unreal. Oh shoot, we got some comments earlier. Did we get that just now?
Ooh.
What do we think about Ruben Baines off the field issues going into draft night? Personally, I think he'd make a good Philadelphia Eagle.
Um,
I
I don't
mean,
think
it's hard to
I don't think
ignore.
it's hard to ignore, but I don't really think it's that much of an issue. Like supposedly a lot of these teams already knew about some of this stuff, and during his like pre-draft interviews, they were pretty pleased with how he responded to it and like talked about it when he was asked. So I really don't think it's going to be that much of an issue for him. I think maybe some of the bigger issue is that he doesn't have a ton of great bend. He's really relies heavily on power rush. He doesn't have a lot of counter moves or finesse to his pass rush arsenal. And the short arms is all of that would be more of a concern for Ruben Bain and maybe why he would slide. I don't know that the like off the field issues are really going to be that much of an issue.
Yeah, but back to the Spurs Trailblazers.
Mm-hmm.
Wemby went off in his first playoff game. I mean, obviously, it was all the defensive stuff. He just won unanimous MVP, defensive MVP. It was all the defensive stuff, altering shots around the rim. It was really tough for the Trailblazers defensively. Like Klingon and Robert Williams weren't really able to get going inside, and they're not incredible shooters. Like Klingon has brought the three-pointer along, but he's not comfortable enough for it to be like a true weapon. So they were both struggling against Wemby. And then offensively, he just took everything they threw at him. Like when they were putting centers on him, he was being physical with them, and he was shooting threes. He went 5 for 6 from three. With wings, he was able to, use a much better face-up game than I've ever seen from him. And when he had guards, it was just no chance that they were going to be able to stop him going downhill. So 35 points, best defender in the first round of the playoffs. The dream performance for Victor Wembanyama. And I don't think the Trailblazers have any chance in this series, especially with how electric that San Antonio crowd is.
No, this
Get on
this
your
series is
feet,
going to be
Spurs Nation.
this series is going to be a beatdown. I mean, they've got the color coordinated shirts and the crowd. I don't care what anyone says, especially Bill Simmons. That was sick. And it gets even better for Wemby because he just won. He was the unanimous Defensive Player of the Year, youngest player to ever win that award. We wanted to see what playoff Wemby looked like, and this is it. The Trailblazers are just so inefficient. It honestly feels like I'm just looking at the Rocket stat line all over again. 39 of 91 from the floor. Denny was great. He had 30 points. He was efficient. Scoot wasn't even half bad. He had 18 on 7 of 11 shooting, but everyone else, Klingon was incredibly inefficient. Holiday 4 of 15.
No,
Sharp
no.
was inefficient. I mean, it was just they're just chucking up shots because I mean, what are you going to do against Wemby?
It wasn't his fault. It's also Klingon's first time in the playoffs.
I love Donovan.
He had a terrible game. They just don't have enough shooting. The ideal game plan would be Scoot and Denny are going downhill, trying to get to the rim and draw fouls, and you surround them with shooters. Drew Holiday's a solid shooter, but he didn't shoot very well. And then you get, Robert Williams and Tumani Kamar's a fine. Like, they have some fine shooters, but like Matisse Thybulle and Jeremy Grant and Chris Murray, like, it's not necessarily the epitome of shooting from downtown. So it's going to be a difficult game plan. It'll be a 4 or 5 game series. Let's get the other two like kind of easier ones out of the way, and then we'll wrap up with Magic Pistons. Dude, the Suns have no chance against the Thunder.
Dude, they got obliterated. I was sitting at my desk doing homework, and I kind of checked the score. I had it on my TV. I was like, okay, well, it's early. It's like 16-14 right now. I'll check back in like 5 minutes. And by the time I went back to the game, it was like they were losing by 20. This was just brutal to watch. I mean, quite simply, the Suns just can't stack up at all. Everyone at my workplace they weren't even surprised in the slightest. It seemed like there wasn't even any optimism after they won the playing game against the Warriors. I mean, yeah, it was brutal. Like, Oso was terrible. Goodwin was terrible. O'Neal terrible. I mean, they just don't have the depth, plain and simple.
There's a clear divide in the level of talent between these two rosters. Suns simply just they don't have the guys. They're going to get swept. I feel very confident saying that. They had 17 turnovers in this game. Like, they scored 84 points. Like, they don't have. They're going to need generational performances out of Jalen Green and Devin Booker every game to even have a chance to win a game, let alone somehow try to win this series. They are severely outmatched.
Yeah, I mean, points off turnovers. 2 for the Suns, 34 for the Thunder. I think that illustrates a pretty clear picture that the Thunder defense was all over the Suns ball handlers. They were getting in passing lanes, they were causing disruptions, and then they were going down on the break and going pretty much unstopped at the rim. The Suns just have no answer for the amount of incredible defensive bodies that the Thunder have. Great season for the Suns, but back to the drawing board. Sixers Celtics, pretty similar feeling with no Embiid and just how hot this Celtics team is, and with Tatum back, they just have so many damn good players.
Yeah, I feel a little different. Like, I feel like the Sixers, like the talent gap isn't as severe as Thunder's Suns. Like, I think the Sixers can get a game, but no Joel Embiid makes it really tough. Like, Maxey was pretty inefficient. BJ Edgecombe in his first taste of playoff experience was not great. I mean, they shot 4 of 23 from the 3 ball as a team. That's really, really bad. And yeah, the combination of Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown is just it's too much for Philly. Maybe they can get a game, but yeah, I don't see it going. I don't really see it going past 5 probably.
Enough of those losers. We want to talk about Magic Pistons because this was a sick game. 2 very physical teams, 2 teams not very good at shooting the 3 ball. Magic pull off the upset. There's some real juice around the fact that the Magic could win this series. I think, I'll open it up after this, but my biggest takeaway from this game is that nobody on the Pistons can self-create outside of Cade. I mean, he had damn near 40. Everything that they had was from him. It was absolutely unreal. And when he was, when other people were trying to create, it was a disaster. When he was off the floor, it was a disaster. 39 minutes with Cade Cunningham on the floor, net rating of minus 0.1, neutral. 8 minutes with Cade off the floor, minus 66.7 net rating.
Holy, like
They
can't
cannot
survive.
play without Cade.
I mean, Tobias, what are we doing? 1 of 7 from 3, 5 of 15. Like, this is not, bro. He is just not he's rarely ever a playoff riser. Yeah, I mean, just quite simply, the rest of the team didn't show up. Aidan and I were baffled. Jalen Duren shot 4 times the entire game. He had just as many free throw attempts as he did shot attempts. That blows my mind. I don't know what happened here.
They needed to get more here. They just have no one else who can put the ball on the deck and go get their own bucket. It's all either play finishers or like non-threats offensively. Like, Tobias Harris at the end of the day is a play finisher. Amen Thompson and Isaiah Stewart aren't going to get you buckets. And then guys like Duncan Robinson and Jalen Duren and Kevin Huerter or Karis LeVert are either shooters or finishers at the rim. And Jalen Duren can do a little bit more stuff in a straight line drive, which has been so impressive, but he didn't go for it at all. And the one guy, Janus Jenkins, who can actually maybe create off the bounce, 1 of 7. So
He was awful.
Just a terrible performance from anyone who was not named Cade Cunningham as a ball handler. And then Orlando was doing, what they were built to do from the start of the year. Really physical defense, lots of big rangy defenders, getting downhill. I mean, they didn't shoot very well from 3 at all, but they were just so physical defensively. And guys like Franz and Paulo were doing such a good job at getting to the rim and being efficient down there that it was a recipe for success.
Yeah, I mean, Desmond Bane was pretty awful. He was 1 of 8, but they were just good at being the bigger, more physical team, which against the Pistons kind of really surprises me. But I think this is kind of what people envisioned that the Magic could be at the start of the season. We just didn't really see it in the regular season. But yeah, big, physical, really good defensive team. I'm very interested to see how this series progresses now because, like you said, like Detroit might be in some serious trouble, especially if they just cannot play without Cade Cunningham.
Yeah. Well, are we ready to get into the player of the week here now?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Who do you guys have for your players of the week?
I feel like mine is pretty easy. I mean, it has to be CJ McCollum. I mean, the dude just went off today. Clutch shots down the stretch for the Hawks. Big reason why they won and even the series against the Knicks. CJ McCollum, man, I do remember, man, his disastrous series against the Nuggets back in 21. But that game he had against the Nuggets, that game 7 in 2019, that's the kind of playoff, rising performance that CJ McCollum brings to the table. When he's on, he can win you a game.
Yeah, it was crazy to see old man CJ McCollum giving the business to the Knicks, and maybe he's the Trae Young replacement in terms of a hooper a little guard that the Knicks are going to hate. But Aidan, who do you have?
I'm going to go with the guy that I brought up a little bit earlier. He was insanely hot in Game 1. Give me Luke Kennard. Lakers need other guys to step up with no Luka, no Austin Reeves, and they got another white guy who stepped up, and it's Luke Kennard. 5 for 5 from 3, 9 of 13 from the floor. Like he couldn't miss. He was unreal. Like I mean, if they can get really good performances out of Luke Kennard, like I touched on it earlier, the Rockets can really be in trouble. Braun was also awesome in that game with 13 assists, but yeah, like they need scoring, and Luke Kennard can certainly provide that when he gets hot.
Yeah. All right. And then I got, let's focus on one of the games that he played this past week. In a dark hour, in a scary moment for the people, the citizens of Charlotte, North Carolina. Who could they turn to go get buckets? Would it be potential Rookie of the Year Con Knippel? No, that cracker sucks. Could it be LaMelo Ball? No, he's too interested in being inefficient and crashing cars. The real savior of the Charlotte Hornets, Kobe White, absolutely dominated in the first game of the play-in. 5 of 8 from 3. He was turning up. He was hitting clutch shots. He was a little microwave out there on the floor. He is the play-in demigod. Ignore the fact that in game 2 of the play-in and another elimination game against the Magic, he only had 4 points. He was absolutely electric. One of the most fun performances I've seen from an individual player and one of the most electric environments in the beautiful city of Charlotte, North Carolina.
Yeah, I mean, is Kobe White the greatest play-in player of all time?
Surely.
He's up there.
Yeah, no doubt for me. But let's get into it. We have a little note from MLB from Keenan, and we have a little note from the MMA from Aidan, and then we'll all get out of here and get a good night's sleep.
Yeah, I'll make this quick. I know we've been on here for a long time. It's almost midnight. Just plain and simply, I think the big headline with MLB right now is, man, the Mets have been just awful to start the season. They are currently on an 11-game losing streak. That's an accomplishment. That's really hard to manage. But I mean, this was a team that I thought was going to compete for their division and bounce back into potential contender against the Dodgers for the National League crown. I mean, 7-15 to start the season. What are we doing, New York? Quite simply, it's been a collection of factors. One, obviously, Juan Soto is hurt, and anytime the guy that you're paying over $700 million to is not in the lineup, it's gonna hurt. But this offense is just putrid. Bo Bichette has been a huge flop so far, and Francisco Lindor. I'm not going to buy into the theories that he's trying to purposely get himself traded, but he's looked terrible. He's just not. He hasn't stepped up like the captain that he's expected to be. His bat is gone. Quite simply, this is just unacceptable for a team that has a payroll over $360 million.
Yeah, I mean, when Luis Robert is one of your best hitters, you're really in trouble.
Yeah, I mean, and everyone dogs on the Dodgers, which, I have my gripes with how they do their business, but, quite simply, this is what it looks like when you spend all that money and you don't get the results. And that's because the Dodgers, I think, just have a better infrastructure, quite frankly, than the Mets. You can chuck all the money you want at the top players on the market. It doesn't mean that you're going to get success, and that's been pretty clear with how bad the Mets offense has been.
Another cute little note. I believe this stat is still relevant. It might have been this morning. Maybe it's not applicable anymore. But 5 teams in the MLB with 13 plus wins, and 3 are in the NL West: the Padres, the Diamondbacks, and the Dodgers. So kind of cool little stat there. But Aidan, what do you got from us from the MMA?
I have what you call it? Just one little note. Wasn't a very big card this week, but Mike Malot, maybe, Canadian fighter in his backyard in Montreal, in Winnipeg, got a 3rd round TKO over Gilbert Burns. Burns is one of the true legends of the welterweight division. He's fought really just the best of the best, but after that fight was on a 5-fight losing streak, and he decided to call it a career. So shout out to Gilbert Burns. Awesome fighter. Always had some great fights, but it's always nice when a fighter it's sad when a fighter retires, but it's nice when they realize they just don't really have it anymore. And that was certainly the case for Gilbert Burns. But shout out to Mike Malot. He's going to be ranked. And interesting note about Mike Malot, his brother, Jeff Malot, is a professional hockey player for the LA Kings. So that's pretty interesting.
I feel like it's tough because you probably want to go out with a win in your last fight, but it's almost certainly like playing a video game or like in pickup basketball. Like you got to end with a win, but it's not quite the same where, staying on later is just getting you more tired. If you're doing more fights, you are quite literally sacrificing your body. You are getting beat up, and who knows if you'll ever be able to win again, truly.
Yeah, I mean, he's 39 years old, 5-fight losing streak. He'd been knocked out in three of those five.
Nah.
Like
Just wrap it up.
it was time to call it a career. Sad to see him go. Love Gilbert Burns. But it was certainly time.
Well, that about wraps it up for everything we had here on the Breakdown After Dark. Got to go over NBA playoffs and the NFL mock draft. Next week, the NFL draft will be all wrapped up, so we'll have some reactions to that, and round one will be a little bit closer to being wrapped up. But thank you all so much for listening tonight, and have a great night.